Hey guys, Chris again, Broken Nib RC, and today I wanted to talk about my Kraton EXB. It's you guys don't know, it's a Kraton 6S, but it's got the extra hop-ups on it. At least it did originally, and just wanted to let you know my experiences with it. I am not well. The whole bashing thing is kind of odd because I've been kind of bashing with these things all the time. But now I guess I don't know, it seems to be like some particular skill or something. I don't know what. Anyway, long story short, I'm used to having crawlers for the last, I don't know, 20 years or so. And a couple years ago, I came into a little bit of money and I thought, oh, I want a Kraton EXB. And they're still around. I've got my notes here. They're still about 470. They're still available. I think the Mojave they discontinued the EXB, but Cratons are still around. The EXB is 470 pretty much, and the Kraton ready to run, the 6S ready to run, is 550. So you know, whether or not the parts are really worth it, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of up in the air. But anyway, I'm coming from a place that uh, I'm not used to jumping like these things like 30 feet in the air. So correcting in midair and all that kind of good stuff. This is obviously the truck to do it with. And but I'm pretty green. I'm also green. I never had like three oil-filled live differentials too, right? So that's a little bit uh, kind of compared to crawler stuff, it's a little out of my wheelhouse, which that's cool. I like that. It's something to learn. So anyway, long story short, when I bought this thing, originally I wanted to make it idiot proof, right? And put up with the usual dumb crap that you always pull off. At least me, I do. Hitting telephone poles and curbs, and you know, turning this thing into a lawn dart because you don't know how to land it. The jumping's easy. It's the landing that's the tough part. So um, originally when these came out, they had a problem with the differentials. Guys were chewing up ring gears and pinning gears in them, and I originally it's kind of strange. Now they come with the shim kit, uh, which I have one right here. Um, it comes standard with the truck now, and I behoove you and highly recommend because this is a roller anyway. So before you build it up, learn how to get to the diff, and then check the front and rear diffs for any kind of play. And you want left or right. You want to get that play down to almost zero if you can. So yeah, they give you diffs to do. They give you shims to do that. Excuse me. So yes, I highly recommend you check those diffs. And that kind of goes without saying for at least the big stuff. Like this thing pulls a lot of RPM and a ton of torque, and so the numbers are a lot bigger, obviously, than your standard 10 scale crawler. So it's like, oh right. um, and it's weird. Like some guys had this problem and some guys didn't. And I happen to think it's part of when the plastic, even though it's very good plastic on it, and it's got a lot of fiber and resin in it, so it doesn't expand. There's something going on. I don't know if they injection mold these things or they partially. I don't think they partially machine it, obviously. But somehow the injection molding, I think, from one to another, it could be like a thousandths off. The These things are, of course, this is the stock bulkhead, and it's reinforced. The bearings are all reinforced in it, which is great. That's good. So you don't have a lot of expansion there, but I have a feeling that once you start pumping some horsepower through it, I think the specs tend to change. Um, so it plus plus I had this crazy idea. I wanted an 8S truck basically. So I wanted to pump 8 cell through this thing. And so yeah, so I started pretty much hopping up. I thought I did both sides of this, but I actually just did the rear bulkhead. They're kind of hard to find. This is the hot racing bulkhead, and that and the top cover. It's I don't have any variables. I've never killed any gears in it. It's been pretty cool. So it's not necessary out of the box. If I had it, in fact, I bought a Mojave like 6 or 8 months after I bought this. And the Mojave, I said, screw it. I'm not changing anything on this. I'm just running it till it breaks. And the only problem I had was the outdrives. I've killed a set of outdrives on this thing, on this one, and I think on the Mojave as well. And that's kind of like you have to kind of check your droop settings to make sure these axles don't get it kind of cattywampus when it goes full droop in the air. Because I think that kind of sets it off, and then the hard landings just kill it. And then, you're probably going to blow a set of outdrives. MTC Racing, I got heavily involved with them. They make a good set of outdrives that are great. I try to get. I think I just changed the fronts on both trucks, just for now. I don't have enough money to really go full hog all the way throughout the truck. So this Kraton in particular, like I said, I wanted to run 8S through it. So I ended up with the Castle Creations, motor speed control combo in it, and that's an extra 500. So I'm already into a K in this thing. Originally, I'll show you. This is the stock shock mount. I like it from what I'd seen on the internet and that, and I thought it was a good idea. Their MTC Racing has basically, I think, like a 4mm studs that come out for the shocks, and it really beefs this thing up pretty well. And obviously the screw kit. Oh, there's no. It's another screw video, guys. Sorry. Anyway, the screws that come out, it's I believe it's 4mm instead of, I don't know, what is that, 3? Like a 3 shaft or something. Beefs it up. You could use it on the stock EXB braces. Like I said, I went a little whole hog, and I thought, well, I got to make this completely idiot proof. So I ended up buying the front and rear shock towers from MTC. I went a little nuts. Got the front and rear shock towers. The stock ones are just fine. Got the supports. Replaced those. Yeah. What a little gonzo on that, honestly. I don't regret it because it's a little. It puts up with my driving. Let's put it that way. And at the time, it did put up with 8 cell. So that's been actually pretty good. Like I said, it's once you check out the differentials. The only other really hop up, and it's not even a really mostly necessary hop up, but Vedavon, I haven't found another company that does this, but they make diff cups. This is the 20 diff housing, a 29mm. These are particularly handy just because when you're like these trucks, right, you're tuning it with oil, so you're constantly, at least you're putting it together and seeing what works and you take it apart. And there's nothing wrong with the stock diff cups, don't get me wrong, but all that disassembly and assembly again. And I noticed that, it was like every once in a while the plastic doesn't hold the screws very well, and then you're trying to, like, you know what I mean? You're trying to keep that oil in there, and trying to get that gasket and everything kind of compressed. The aluminum diff cups, at least from Vidavon have been really good. And it's just like a maintenance thing, I don't have to worry about rounding out a screw or anything like that. But, they're kind of costly too. So I tend to change the rear, the upgrades on the diffs and whatnot. It tends to go from the rear. Seems to get the most load. And as opposed to the center diff, you've got the heavier oil in it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Most of your horsepower comes from the rear wheels seem to drive a bit more than the fronts, but generally. So yeah, the power system, like I said, I went with Castle. I like the censored power system, but like I said, it's $5. At least it's at least 500. I don't know what it is now. Good God, I have no idea. Um, and it's strange. I got these motor fans off of eBay, and they're at least $60 a piece. And you'd have to check on those. Your mileage may vary on that one. I'm having a current situation now where previously these things are set up to run pretty much on 4-cell. I think some might be rated for 6-cell, but it's kind of sketch. I'm at the point now where I'm kind of getting tired of making adapters and everything else, and it gets a little funky, so I'm trying to just make an adapter to run this off the fan sensor in the ESC, which it's not as much voltage, but honestly, I don't know. I'm going to try it and see. Just, you got to check your temps and all that kind of good stuff. And out here in California, at least in Sacramento, it'd get up to about 115, 117 degrees, but it's not the same as like Arizona, where some places will get up to 120 plus. That kind of thing. So it's like I said, it's your mileage may vary. I just don't want to run it without a fan, and I could have kept the stock on there, but who wants a stock fan? Also, these things are really noisy. I mean, it's like a jet aircraft taking off. They really go nuts. So I don't know if it's up to you. I tend to wear headphones when I drive anyway. So yeah, not a big deal. What else? Back to the upgrades. Like I said, I'm just learning on this thing. I did go a little nuts. I got the chassis, the 4mm chassis from MTC Racing. At the time, they were kind of they didn't have a lot of production going. I don't no idea how it is now, because Kraton's been out for a few years. So I don't know if it's the hot ticket anymore. So they may not have a lot in stock. So I picked up this guy, and I had enough brains to kind of go, yeah, I'm going to wait till I taco the stock chassis. It's so far so good. The stock chassis is 3mm, a little over 3mm, and this guy comes in at 4. I think some spots are like 419. Yeah, so this is tough. Also, it's a little odd. I actually bought a set of RPM arms for this thing, and it's the same thing. I'm waiting for the stock ones to break. When you change, I've seen reports of guys that'll change out to the heavier chassis, and they'll have these collisions, and all that weight and inertia will just break the arms like rather easily. So it's something you kind of want to watch out for. Another upgrade I did is Oh, that's another thing. The kit comes with this handy dandy wrench, which is kind of like the standard big armor wrench, right? And it's a good wrench. I have no problem. I've got two of them now because of the Mojave, and they're kind of cool to keep in a toolbox and that kind of thing. Only problem is they don't have a lot of leverage. So like in my tool bag, I have a 3/8, just a 3/8 socket. Um, I happen to have a like a deep drive 17 millimeter, which you can go to Home Depot and just, if you can get a cheap socket. You can either get a cheap socket set or just buy it individually at Home Depot. I don't think they're about $3 for a socket, and you can get a short one, use extension, whatever bips your bippy. The wheels aren't very deep, so it's just to clear the wheels, and you get a lot more leverage out of this without using a big old impact, which I don't heartily recommend, honestly. Um, just because I don't know with the wheels, it's kind of sketch, really. Um, I did get MTC Racing has basically hubs and the wheel hubs and their nuts are serrated, and that seems to work out pretty well. This big tire will kind of loosen. They do loosen up after a run, so you're constantly checking the wheel nuts on it. And it sucks if you get if this thing spins off and you're hunting around for for a wheel nut in a parking lot somewhere or a vacant lot. It sucks. Um, yeah, that's. Hang on a minute. I got more upgrades to show you. One sec. Yes, all right, we're back. Um, Another thing I did is I replaced these hubs with the hot racing. And honestly, the reasoning behind that is that the stock, I can't remember what you call these now. Basically, these cups that are held in with, I forget, it's like it takes a 5 millimeter driver to get it out. Um, and the problem is the stock plastic ones, they tend to strip a lot. And I think I took it down for maintenance. I just kind of tore it apart. And getting them back, it's a very fine thread, and it tends to strip out a lot, which is really annoying. So I don't think these were that bad. They're about I think 50 for the set, around 50 or so. Um, and I'm kind of glad I did it. It's not much. Like I said, the bling is, you're not going to get a lot of bling out of these things. You just want to run it. But they don't look too bad. And honestly, um, I could set this up a little bit better and a little more accurately, and get, camber, and get your adjustments in a little more precisely. And it's been kind of well worth the effort. I think I put to help with the steering a little bit. I think sometimes some things you just do because you have the money. Whether or not you really need it is up for grabs, but um, it doesn't hurt to get the steering kind of nailed down a little bit. So I think I put the gear set in there, made it a little bit easier to made it a little bit easier to lock down that steering a little bit, even though it is spring around the corner. This thing's loose as hell. I'm gonna have to. I got some work to do. Um, yeah, the braces and that came in just fine. I would recommend, if you do pick up one of these and you're going to change out things like the braces and that, which is not a bad thing. It's just the thread lock that they use is pretty hardcore. Yeah, I had to use a little bit of heat to get everything off, and So it's, I had to hit it with a torch basically to warm it up to get the old EXP stuff off. But I haven't, like I said, I haven't killed this chassis yet, or the A arms, that kind of thing. I might do a separate video. I did make a couple jumps. So my problem is, uh, I have I have a pickup, but it's got a shell on it, and then I'll do a video on it. There's like a special. I actually put a 6 foot drawer in it so that you can pull out, which is great for hiding RC stuff if you're on the road. But the problem is putting in like a big 3 or 4 foot ramp in there is just kind of a no-go unless you make it modular. So right now I'm trying to I think this spring I'm going to get some designs together and try like, a modular ramp. I'll put that in the video. The old ramps are fine. They work great. They're great for UDR or anything else. But on this stuff, you don't really get that lip on the end. You know what I mean? So you can get some good height out of it. It's pretty limited that way. It's just like it's damn near like a piece of plywood with a stick on it. I think we can do better than that. um, this thing is obviously a lot of fun. Um, I haven't really had any complaints about it. I think compared to an Emax, or not Emax, excuse me, X-Max, there's too many Maxes. Um, I don't know if I'd be really into an X-Max myself. I totally understand. Their X-Maxes are just bash machines. And I mean, there really isn't anything to even check out for much. Just the usual Friday afternoon production stuff. Make sure pinion gears are tight and whatever that I've seen. I haven't seen much explode on them, really. Um, and like I said before, X Maxes are 1,000 out the door. It's like a club, and it's like 1,000 out the door. But if you do kill a chassis, it's relatively inexpensive. I think a chassis on this is around $75. Uh, the M2C Racing one, I have no idea, but I think I paid about 100, 120 for that. So, piece by piece, it's like one piece at a time. Um, I think once you get past just to make sure the diffs are shimmed, I have no complaints of durability. I mean, the stuff I've seen guys blow up are like pretty hardcore. And I don't know. Everybody compares it to Kevin Talbot. Well, yeah, I guess. If you just, I don't know. Um, if your specialty is breaking shit, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I don't take this to skate parks. I don't, I generally don't run it in the concrete or, that kind of thing. It's usually vacant lots and that kind of stuff. But I mean, that has the same dangers. There's a vacant lot around here that I go play at, but it's all hard pan, and there's every once in a while you hit a 2x4, that kind of thing. You hit tree roots, or some guy did some kind of little race series out there, but he buried these like iron stakes in the vacant lot, and yeah, fun. So clipping one of those at 30-40 miles an hour, something's gonna croak. Same thing if I go out to the lake. There's lots of nasty little rocks that are just waiting for you. They're waiting for you. Um, when, well, like I said, I built this to run at 8 cell, and honestly, I didn't like it on 8 cell. it was just, it was just absolutely uncontrollable, and that was like quarter throttle. I mean, you couldn't really open up on this thing, as soon as you hit the throttle. And you could turn the punch down, I guess. And I did, actually, but it doesn't matter. This thing cartwheels. And, obviously this is a shorter wheelbase than a Mojave. So on, like, open country, that kind of thing, it's going to react differently. Um, yeah. And, I mean, I don't know. It's just kill. It's total overkill, but, it's one of those things, I guess maybe it's just like dude logic. You just got to do it to try it. And I tried it, and I went, you know what? Really, 6 cell tops. I ran 4 cell in this ever since, and no problem. It's not that big a deal. You know, you set the punch rate, and the thing will still wheelie. It'll still wheelie and cartwheel and do everything else on 4 cell. So it's like, why am I killing myself? Plus, it takes you half an hour to strap in 2 4 cell batteries in this thing. It's nuts. I'm probably gonna, in fact, I'm probably gonna take a lot of these connectors off, and I don't know, and just to kind of clean up the wiring here. This is for the fan, which runs off of a 4 cell. I have a 6 cell that I bought, like a fresh 6 cell. 6 cell, like a single battery, is work. I mean, obviously you want to balance charge it all the time. Uh, I used to run almost exclusively 6 cell, and that was in a crawler because I'm nuts. But it's the chance of dropping a cell is pretty good. You got to keep them constantly balanced, and sometimes when they start to go, it's just that one cell that croaks on you, and it's like I have to rethink this. Um, plus a good 6 cell is I don't know. I think the last one I got was like an Amazon special, and it seems it's holding up just fine. But I can't, I just can't drop $200 in batteries. That's the only thing. And with something like this, it's gonna get dirt and gravel and everything in there. That um, body's cool. I like the body. That's my other gripe is I wish there was more. Um, I just wish we had better options. Proline or somebody they don't seem to do. Not that I'm aware of. I had to take a look again, but I doubt. There wasn't. I couldn't find anything originally, any blanks. Um, and I don't know. I mean, Arma's not the most expensive RC on the planet, but holy crap, you try to buy a blank body from them. Holy shit, that's it's $200 or 100 plus. I'm just no, no, I'm not doing that. So, but I mean, it's the body. It's like, so what? Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've got it almost set up to where I could just throw it in the truck and take off, and we're getting real close to that point. That's good. Um, my UDR took a lot of work to get to that point too. Um, and that's got like I said in the UDR video, that's got problems that are creeping up now just because of mileage. You know what I mean? And but the UDR, you can't just sit down. It takes some effort to work on this. Don't get me wrong. It's not like it's you open a little trap door in the front end and out pops the diff. I mean, it does take some work to get it apart, but it's not nearly, it's not close to UDR level at all. Um, I would recommend, and I usually don't plug other people's YouTube channels. I'm pretty burned out on YouTube in general, but there's a guy, AJAM Studios, AJ. Um, he's been around for a few years now, and he's got a lot more experience because he did a lot of off-road racing with Lousy. So anyway, he's got a lot more experience in how the differentials work, everything else, and kind of setting it up. And he explains it in a pretty simple way, and I've got a lot of respect because like how-to videos don't bring the clicks. Well, the algorithm doesn't seem to like um, how-to videos. It's all marketing centered, and what's fresh and hot and new and off the griddle and blah 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 blah, and everybody's trying to get you to spend money. So how-to videos kind of fell by the wayside, which is kind of sad. But check out AJAM Studios. Um, there's a whole playlist on kind of how differentials work, and these differentials, which have the limited slip plates in them, and how that kind of operates, and he just goes through step by step how to rebuild them, and they're not that terribly complicated, but like the plates get a little, a little funky to begin with. The instruction, it's not really an instruction manual that comes with this. It's basically just an exploded diagram. It's not awful. It's not awesome. It just kind of is. I would also recommend going to the website and just download the PDF and go with it that way because you're going to get the freshest, you know, um, info on that. That goes for all of them. Traxxas, everybody, regardless of what came in the box. Because yeah, it's a little weird. I mean, obviously these guys are out of the UK. Uh, it's a little kind of bizarre. It took me a while to find out what shock oil they put in the shocks. Just when it came to like building it or rebuilding it, like maintenance, like, well, what's the shock oil on this thing? There's nothing really readily there. It's a little odd. And same thing with the diff oils for some reason. Yeah, it's not I had a I it wasn't impossible, but I had a funky time trying to get information. It wasn't. I'm not shaming them or anything, but this is funky. So, whatever. Yeah, so that's the Kraton EXB. I think I kind of covered everything. Like I said, it's my lousy opinion. Um, I've enjoyed this truck a lot. I'm always learning about upgrades on, especially like these and even other trucks. When I got this thing, this was all about started to just get this thing to steer, and I went part by part by part by part. But I did a little bit at a time, and now I've got a truck that I enjoy driving, and it's big. Uh, and also this is like these things are really simple to work on. Honestly, they're kind of fun when they're this big. It's kind of like working on a real truck, which is a kick. This guy, same thing. It's there's a learning curve. Not so much. Well, I guess driving it too, but like for me, for maintenance, especially when I got the Mojave too, I had to learn like, well, what's the deal? Why would I run million weight in the middle? And you know what I mean? How does this work? It took, it just seems strange. It took me a while to get my brain to get the concept. I was a little late to the get it party. Is all I'm saying. And um, which is that's part of the fun too. I like that I learned something new and I just have a blast with this thing. Um, but yeah, hopefully if it ever stops raining, I'm gonna go out and beat on this thing, and I'm trying to get some running videos going, but I, my attempts have been really really bad. So anyway, that's about it for now. Thank you guys for watching. I love the feedback I got in the last video. That was really cool. I really appreciate that. Um, yeah, and I just want to give you guys my my experience with it. That's really all I got to bring to the table. And I'm not paid by anybody, obviously. Um, I mean, I don't know. I just, I guess I started a Patreon, but I don't see why. It seems a little stupid. You pay for my crap. You buy your own crap. I bought my crap. That's what the channel's about. This is the crap I bought. Anyway, you guys have a good one, and see you on the next video. Next video, I think I'm going to do the absolute worst RC kit I've ever bought, and that should be interesting. So, I don't know. Stick around. Take it easy. Bye bye.